All right, for those of you that have been coming for the last couple of days, doing the quizzes, doing the homework, good job. I'm impressed with the quality of some of the homework I've been receiving. Thanks, Norm. I will be. Let's see how it goes, Connor. I will be looking over the homework in a bit more detail when I have a little bit more time. Preparing for all of this for you guys has taken up a good bit of my time. So haven't had a chance to look over, other than just a cursory look at some of the homework assignments that have been turned in. All right. Same as it's been. This is day 3 of our 3-day event. Same rules. I'm not sure. I think we emailed it to you, Frank. Was it not emailed? Connor will take care of that for you. Same rules. If you can't follow the rules, there's really no business being here, and there's no business really being in trading if you can't follow simple rules, because that's what trading is all about. All right, so you're expected to be here and pay attention, meaning this isn't something that you just listen to. This is active listening, not passive listening. All right, so you might want to take notes. We are going to have quizzes. No more homework, just the other two, so no homework after tonight. Please do not ask questions that don't pertain to what we're talking about. Rude and random comments will get you ejected immediately without warning. I may pick you out of the audience and ask you a question specifically. If you're not here, we're going to assume that you left. And if you don't answer, we're going to assume that you left, and we'll just go ahead and close the room for you. You're going to hear more of the same things you heard the first 2 days, because that's how we learn. Repetition. First time you hear something, you might actually absorb a small percentage of it. So I repeat myself a lot. And if this isn't good for you, that's fine. Maybe watch it on video. All right, so like I said, take notes. This is not passive. You should be taking notes and asking questions if you don't understand what it is I'm talking about. All right? Do not ask me to see charts, trading charts, static charts. Those are just smoke and mirrors, and you can't learn anything about becoming a better trader simply by looking at static charts. It's one of those things that a lot of presenters believe, or they do, because us retail traders tend to believe a lot about what we hear. But it's really mostly smoke and mirrors, and you know that because if you try to put these systems to work, a lot of them just never do work, but they sure look compelling on static charts. So you must be watching active charts to really understand how a trading system works. You cannot remove price action and expect that you can build a trading system. Okay? So what was the point of this homework that you guys did? The point of the homework wasn't for you to prove to me that you understand the trade setups. All right? Funny thing about going to school, all those years I was in school and all the tests I took and all the homework I did, you start to believe that you're doing that to prove to the teacher what you know. It never really occurred to me that the process of doing the homework, of studying, of reading, of looking for the right information is where the value is. I wanted you guys either watching the Trade of the Day videos or putting the indicators on your own charts and finding certain circumstances. I wanted you spending that time, because that time, rather than it becoming it's just something that you're watching, once there's a mission behind it, you become engaged in the process. Okay? You're not simply watching and interested in the high points. This has a lot to do with the new Trader RX 2 program that we have coming up. You'll find that there is more work to do in that program on a regular basis to make you a more active participant rather than just filling in blanks and hoping for the best. Okay? So the process of collecting the information is usually better than the information itself, because there's a lot more to learn, a lot of experience to gain. All right, we have 4 setups, remember? All right, we have the first touch. When a major line of support or resistance has not been touched in a relatively long time, price will typically react to this line. All right, speed tick, same setup. Now we're going to add the fact that we know that price is likely being manipulated on that bar because the rate of the orders being processed is much faster than is likely retail traders can trade. Rockstar, same as the speed tick, but now we're going to add in the fact that momentum has actually diverged from price, meaning it has already changed directions, even though price hasn't changed directions yet. The beauty of that is price will almost always follow momentum. And the naked Rockstar, same trade as the Rockstar, but we're going to remove the necessity of support and resistance and add other layers of confluence for confirmation of exhaustion. Any questions on this? Oh, Carlton, go back on your homework that you sent me. Reread what you wrote on the FT and look at that picture again. I want you to think about that and then send it to me again. Any questions on these 4 setups? I've got a video I want you guys to watch tonight. It's not a homework. It's just something that will help fill in some of the blanks that I'm unable to fill in for you during these events. Okay, there's just not enough time. This could be a 1-month event, and I could keep going. All right, our philosophy. Now, the philosophy all came about because I was a struggling, failed trader, and everything about trading had become very stressful and anxiety invoking, and so I felt like I needed to do something to remove those problems for me, because the anxiety and the stress was causing me to have very cloudy judgment. Oh, is it echoing for everybody? That's fine. I can fix that. I think. I just want to make sure. I have it on my speaker, so if it goes dead, I know that you guys can't hear me. Is that better? Okay. So I needed to remove the stress and anxiety, or I was just gonna, fall apart. Um, what I wanted is something that required very little emotion management. So the next thing is how do I do that? I'm going to start by building a foundation of success. I was trying to make a lot of money at trading, and I had no idea if I had what it took to be a successful trader. So my focus was on making a lot of money, never about learning the fundamentals of being a successful trader and what it felt like to be a successful trader. So I had to redefine success. Success was no longer about money. We had to adapt trading to the new realities of the markets. Most of the information out there about trading is a regurgitation of 50-year-old market realities, not today's. All right? Exploiting weaknesses is what we're all about. And not trading is even more what we're about if their weaknesses are not exposing themselves. Learn how to be a winner. The easiest way to learn how to be a winning trader is to start with small trades and get really good at them. Specialize. Be the best in the world at this one very little, small, simple thing. Don't try all these different trading systems. Don't try to gather as much information as you can. Don't try to download as many indicators as you can. Keep it simple. Find an edge. Exploit that edge over and over and over again. What we always think of as the slow way to learn is actually the fastest way to learn. And that is doing the work. Having a structured program to use to practice and train. The focus needs to be mostly on the other 80%. All right, the hobbyist is only going to be interested in indicators and trade setups. And how to enter trades and how to make a lot of money, and how to manage trades. That's where the hobbyists are most interested. The other 80%, the hobbyists have a general interest in, but it's not fun stuff. It's not fascinating stuff. But it's the stuff you got to do if you actually want to be a real trader. So besides what happened in the past, the only thing we know for sure is what's happening right now. That's the only thing that we know for certain about the markets is the information that's coming in right now. Guessing is way too speculative. If I'm trading now for a trade I expect to trade, to come to fruition in the next hour, the longer I'm in that trade, the more external influences, the more variables in the market, the more unforeseens can come in and destroy that edge that I had an hour ago. That edge may no longer exist. So the longer you're in a trade, the more speculative that trade becomes. So we use fast charts, we make fast decisions, and we're quick to get out of the shark-infested markets. Because every time you put a trade in, everybody wants to take your money from you. So why would you leave it in there that much longer? That is a new market reality, folks. Very simple trade management. Upon qualified trades, once we've determined that the trade qualifies for an entry, we're going to use a limit order only until you've mastered that trade setup. After that, if you want to play with market orders and you're able to bear the slippage, fine. But on a 5-tick target with 2 to 3 tick slippage, not much left. You always enter with a bracket order. Limit price. So a limit price is when you say, I'll put on an order at this particular price. And what happens is when you put on a limit order, you basically get in line behind other people that have already said, when price gets to this point, I want to place an order. Okay, I want to be in this trade. And the people in front of you will get filled first. Then hopefully you get filled at that price. Markets move. Price moves, not because of limit orders. The price moves because of market orders. A market order says, I will take the best price I can get right now. That best price may be a couple of ticks away from where you really wanted to get filled. Okay? Now, if you don't use NinjaTrader, we can show you at some point how to determine limit order versus market order versus stop limit orders, all of that. Or we can at least point you in the right direction. So we always want to enter with a bracket order. A bracket order means once I'm entered into that trade, I now have a target and a stop. If price hits either one of those, it cancels the other. Okay? Always, always use a bracket order. We use a 5-tick target and a 7-tick stop. Over time, you're going to maybe want to change that. Now, we have traders that have been with us for years that trade exactly that. We have traders that have shortened their stops to maybe 5 ticks. We have traders that will go for 7 ticks on their target. Okay? That's totally up to you. But this is how I've been doing it for a lot of years, and this is where my comfort level is. My risk tolerance says these are good numbers for me. And that's a hard target, no scaling. We only manage trades with our stops always smaller, never larger. 1 entry per setup, no scaling, out and no trailing stops. All right? Any questions? All right. Go watch this video. I was considering doing some setup training here, but it's already covered. I think you guys can, in your own time, go watch this video. I think Connor's got a link to it. He can put it in the chat there. It'll also be posted down below. If you're watching this on video, it'll be down below in the description. Go watch this trade setup training video. And you'll learn a lot of details about the basics here. Now, we also have a program to help you accelerate your learning. This is our Fast Forward program, that you can do this at your own pace. Okay? We've got a number of different pages inside the Fast Forward program, and different groups of information and tools for you to use to learn how to master this this trading style much more quickly. Okay? All right. So as I promised, I for 7 years was a horrible trader. And I made every mistake every one of you have made. I struggled with everything that you guys have struggled with or are struggling with. I lost a ton of money. Trading became that one thing in my life that I felt like I failed at. And I had never failed at anything before, which is probably what kept me coming back and back and back and back. I always felt like, and I know it's not just me, but I always felt like I was so close. I'm almost there. I'm missing some little piece, because I can trade and win almost up into a profitable range, but I'm losing. So that kept me going. It kept me continually feeding the beast. Well, I'd finally had it. I was on my third relatively decently funded trading account, and I was about to quit. I had decided over one weekend that I was going to go Monday, and I was just going to basically just start throwing a bunch of trades out there, because I still had money in my trading account. And instead of saying, okay, I quit, I'm just going to take the small balance of my trading account, whatever's left, and take it. I thought, no, I'm just going to roll the dice and just go for it. For whatever reason. I don't know. Then I thought, you know what? There's something I've actually been thinking about that I never, because I was continually still seeking the Holy Grail, even though everybody knows it doesn't exist, you still look for it, right? That indicator, or that trading guru, or that style of trading, or whatever. We're always looking for it. So, constantly looking for it. So I didn't want to do this experiment, because I thought, well, it's not going to work. So I really need to stick with what's tried and true for other people. So anyway, I'm at my last straw, and I'm about to quit. So I thought, well, why don't before I quit, I'm just going to try this experiment. So this experiment was based on a question that I asked myself. And the question was, how is it I can be so successful at everything else I've done in my life, whether it's sports or running business, how is it I can be so successful at that and be such a miserable failure at trading? And the answer came back that I don't trade like a business. I don't run my businesses the way I trade. When I run my business, I have a lot of responsibilities. I have a lot of accountability to my family, to my customers, to my employees, to my suppliers, to I have all of this responsibility and accountability that didn't exist in trading. So I thought, well, how can I put those things in my trading? So I had to play a little game with myself, and I said, okay, I'm going to trade like it's my business. And I'm going to add all of those things in there that cause me to become accountable. So I positioned myself as an employee of the company, and I traded like a business. I had to get away from the emotions. Now, a couple of things here. I stopped counting money, but then again, I made it easier to stop counting money because when I was just the lead trader of a trading business, it was no longer my job to count money. My job was to execute the trade plan. Somebody else's job to count the money. I only have to do a good job. You can think of trade plan as your job description. So if I could just stop counting money and make it to where trading was no longer about money, you really start to remove that need to manage emotions, right? So you see how one aha starts to build, and you start having these other ahas. It starts opening other doors. And if I don't need to manage emotions, maybe at the beginning of each day when I sit down to trade, I can stop having these expectations of having yet another losing day by the end of the trading day. Of course, you want the trading day to be awesome, right? You guys, many of you probably still sit down, and if you think about it, sit down with your cup of coffee in the morning, and you pull up your trading charts, you open the trade room or whatever, and you're excited, right? You're excited about the potential that the day might hold for you. But in the back of your mind, you're really kind of expecting it to be a losing day because that's what yesterday was, and the day before that, and the day before that. So once I managed, I had to prove to myself that I could be a winning trader. And how was I going to do that? So what I did is I said, okay, if I can end the day as a winner, and I can do that 10 days in a row or every day of a month except 2 or 3 or whatever, then I've proven to myself it's possible. Now I have something to build on. Up until that point, I had nothing to build on. I was building, I was on quicksand. So the more consistent I have these small wins, the more confidence I begin to build. Let me tell you something. If you don't have confidence, do not be trading with live money. If you don't enter a trade, and although you know it could be a loser just as well as it could be a winner, but if you don't enter a trade with every confidence that you entered that trade correctly and that there's a really good chance that that trade's going to go in your favor, if you cannot do that in sim, please do not trade with live money. I'm going to save you thousands of dollars here. Prove it in sim. Do not be in a hurry. That's a problem many of us have had, is we've gotten in a big hurry. All right, so we talked about the other 80% yesterday and all of these things that we go over in what we call our aha moment session. This is where I come in on Wednesdays and I give, it could be a 15-minute to a 45-minute discussion about something specific. Okay? I'm always trying to keep it very small and very focused on something very specific to give you something to work on, something to think about. One of those things that's one of the most important parts of trading, and as far as why so many traders struggle, is the lack of accountability. Okay? Trading is a very lonely endeavor. We spend a lot of time alone. We spend a lot of time sitting and staring at charts and wondering what we're supposed to do. The more time alone, the more our head starts to get confused. We start making rationalizations. We start throwing out trades. Well, it was just sim. Doesn't matter. I just wanted to see what would happen. I had a feeling, I've seen this price do this kind of stuff before. I had a feeling, but it lost, so it was only sim, so it really doesn't matter. You didn't have to explain this to anybody. You feel like you're supposed to be a trader, so you need to make something happen. You've been sitting there for 2 hours doing nothing. How are you supposed to call yourself a trader if all you do is sit? Man, I need to make something happen. Or I'm bored, or I've lost so much, I've got to get it back. Or I haven't made enough, so I got to get more. I just wanted to try. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. I was just in sim. So my question is, if you worked for me and I got a copy of your orders every day, and I looked at your orders and I looked at the charts, and then I had to sync them up and make sure that you were taking the right trades at the right time, whether they're sim or not, would I be forced to fire you? Does anybody else here take trades just out of boredom, or because you had a feeling, or it's outside your rules, but by golly, I haven't taken a trade in 2 hours and I got to do something? You don't even have to answer. You all done it. We've all done it. So here's what I want you to do. This is part of our trading as a business aha sessions that we have on Wednesdays I just told you about. That's a small part of it. So for accountability, here's what I want you to do. Right now it's just you sitting alone at your computer. I want you to create a trading company. Give it a name, write it down, start a trading business. Next thing I want you to do, take a piece of paper and write down all of your monthly bills, your personal monthly bills, and then rate them in order from your lowest bill to your highest bill. Take the smallest bill, scratch it off your list, create a new list for your business expenses, and add that bill to it. When I did this, it was my water bill, which was at the time, I don't know, $30 a month or something. Now, that is the only bill that the business was accountable for. I had to make $30 to be a profitable business. Could I do that? I had to prove it to myself that I could trade and make $30 in 1 month. As you make it through a few months of this, you take the next smallest bill, scratch it off your personal bills, and make it your business accountable to paying that bill. You are now accountable to your business for your trade decisions. Any questions? Anybody? You know what's coming, right? Sure you don't have questions? Okay. That one? You want to do a screenshot? All right. Don't forget, I don't know how many questions there are. Oh, 10 again. So scroll down. Connor, I think that's only when I show the results. Yeah, okay, I did. Uh, did you? Oh, so you already finished? Carter, if you already finished the questions and you hit the submit, I think you're done. I don't think you can get back to the questions, but I will post them again here in just a minute when we do the results. Oh, did you hit end vote or send vote? Because I don't know. I don't know how you got where you are. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think it closed you out. All right, one more minute. All right. So the most important part of a trading education is absolutely the process of learning, going through all the steps. and taking no shortcuts. The process is where you build experience. The process is how you fine-tune knowledge. All right? Which of these is not part of second brain trading philosophy? Obviously, if I say that the longer you're in a trade, the longer you're in the markets, the more speculative it becomes. Obviously, you should not always have active trades on during the live trading day. So number one, what's the only thing we know for sure about the markets? And that's what's happening right now. All right, what's not part of my personal trade management rules? 5-tick target, 7-tick stop, 1 entry per setup, no scaling out, no trailing stops. All of those are part of my rules. All right, so that the answer is all of these. What was one of the results of Tony's experiment just before he thought he was going to quit trading forever? I had to build confidence. All right, some of you said working at it's the only way to remove emotions from trading. Immediately after that slide, I also said it's impossible to remove emotions from trading. You cannot manage emotions. It's impossible. So you want to build confidence by earning it. Why do people make the same trading mistakes over and over again? They lack accountability because emotion management is impossible. They don't use any kind of structured accountability program. They trade like hobbyists. All of the above. What's the very first qualifying factor for a second brain trade setup? Does the setup have strong momentum? All right, momentum is the key. We're looking at flow to anticipate exhaustion. All right, so that's the answer for the next one. Exhaustion. If a rockstar indicator appears on the open of the current bar, that means not to enter a trade. It means that a particular condition exists. The condition is that price and momentum have diverged after the bar after a manipulated bar. Okay? And this one was awesome. I thought everybody was going to pick Connor on this last one. This one was just for fun. Because I know it was all of the above. That was an easy one. Well, they kind of did. All right. Pretty good job. All right, so accountability seems to be the theme here. You guys are going to have to do it. If you can become accountable, a lot of the other problems you're struggling with go away. Okay? So we've got a program that is in development. Of course, I had the last couple of weeks have been real busy for me, so I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of work on this, but it is moving forward. We have what we're calling our Trader RX 2.0, peer mentoring program. Okay, it's a goal-driven program. It's designed to help you with some of those things we talked about earlier. It's a goal-driven program. So each time you hit a goal and pass a test, you get to move to the next level of learning. Okay? And what we're doing is we're going to instill good habits into you while unlearning some of the bad habits. That stuff has to happen at the same time. You can't do one and then the other. They have to happen at the same time. So it's a very structured program, both for learning and for being accountable. You will have a trading partner or partners. One of the coolest things about this program, this is, you notice it's called Trader RX 2.0. There was a 1.0. And I actually got the opportunity to watch traders go through the program, and then they became mentors. And once they became a mentor to somebody else, it was amazing to see how much faster that they started picking things up, and how much more complete their education was, and how much better they began trading. And so that is a very important part of this program. By having somebody else to mentor, an accountability buddy, you're going to help them and you're going to help yourself, and it goes both ways. So this is going to be an expanding, growing program. I have a lot of things I'm going to add to it over time. We're going to get it launched here very shortly. I do have a quick sneak peek for you, though, of where we are. Uh-oh. What the heck is that? There it is. Oh. All right. So here is the program. All right. So when you're trading, you pull this up and you have your trade log entry form. Okay. You're going to enter each of your trades. You can either do this during trading or after trading. You got a summary of all of your, oops, hold on. It logged me out while I was, all right, so you log your trades. You can either log them completely or partially and then come back and do them later. You got a summary of all your trades. You can see the ones that have been completed fully, or the ones that you still have work to do to complete them. Maybe you want to add an image, maybe you want to add some other information, whatever. So these are incomplete. This trade has already been reviewed by my accountability buddy. And that review is over here. As it turns out, Connor was my accountability buddy. This is an ongoing discussion about this trade between you and your accountability buddy. And you will have that for every trade that gets reviewed. So if you have questions about something your accountability buddy has done, or suggestions about maybe they need to be careful and not do something like that, you can have that discussion there. Each step of this program has an exercise. So there's 4 exercises. Each exercise has a series of goals, but before you can start the exercise, you're going to have to do a little questionnaire. That unlocks the exercise for you. All right? Now, this one hasn't been filled out, but my buddy has his filled out. It's going to look like this. So as you complete your trade logs and you hit your goals, you either get a check mark on the calendar or an X. And as you get more towards the goal for that exercise, this is for exercise 1, as you get more towards that goal, you'll see this climb until you hit 100% that you hit that goal. Hitting that goal makes you eligible to take the test to move to exercise 2. And then you have an open communication area here where you can just have an ongoing conversation. I can go to my buddy here, and now I can go to all of his trades and start reviewing his trades. Yeah. So I can start reviewing my buddy's trades here. Once I review that trade and I submit it, it'll show up in his reviews under his log summary. It'll now say reviewed here. So there's an awful lot of thought and effort being put into this for you guys to be able to help each other. If we have an uneven number, Mario, somebody may want to join the program and we don't have another person, so we may put them with another group. So there may be 3. There could either be 2 or 3 people in a group. Chances are we'll get another person, and then we'll take that third person, and then we'll put them in a different group. Now, we have the options and opportunities to mix and match and change things around. And we will do that from time to time. So it's kind of like Survivor. Right when you think you know what's going on, we end up switching you, and you end up becoming part of a different group. So we will do that from time to time. If you don't get along with your buddy, or your buddy's not pulling his weight, you let us know and we switch you. That kind of stuff. All right. So there's a lot more to this. Any questions on this? If you have any suggestions, you can send them to me. So for bundle owners, it's going to be, depending on what bundle, anywhere from $149 to $199 a month. Of course, just like everything else that we've come up with, Einstein and VIPs get it for free. So it's all included in the Einstein. Here's a couple of specials that we've been running this week. Connor's got it running for a few more days. I think he had another little special thing that he was doing for the first 3. I think those are gone. You'll have to ask him. I don't know. So that concludes our boot camp. Any questions? Okay, so I have a set of rules, right? Triphone. I have a set of rules for entering a trade. Every trade setup scenario has a set of rules. If that particular setup doesn't have some rule applied to it that says I can take it, I'll pass. I did it numerous times today in the trade room. Right? I had a speed tick trade. Somebody asked me, why didn't you take that? Because the rule is I don't take a speed tick trade that's trading back into a line of resistance. So I didn't take the trade. Oh, Connor, can you put that link to that training video? Sure. Yeah, and I will on average take 4 to 8 trades a session, 9 a.m. to noon. On average, I may take 0, I may take 10. But on average, 6 maybe. Yeah, that was a setup called a speed flash, and yeah, the Rockstar is just kind of took over the speed flash. And interestingly enough, it's called a Rockstar because we had traders in the room give the what we were calling at the time the speed flash setup. They called it a Rockstar trade setup, and so it became the Rockstar. On that link, Connor, we'll put a link in again on the current specials. There's a whole list of everything that's included in each bundle. Okay, so there's three. Okay, we'll start out with the first two that I used for years, and that is the Flash and the McDiver. All right, so history of that is that I had this my own theories about divergence, and so I shared those theories with a math guy, and the math guy turned it over to a programmer, and the programmer developed an algorithm for divergence for me. And inside of that indicator, I chose to use the relative strength index as the momentum oscillator that I wanted to use. I like using the RSI. Well, that worked way better than I ever expected. So I thought, well, what if I applied it to another momentum oscillator like the MACD? So I did that, and it worked awesome too. And they did not fire at the same time. So then I started thinking, well, these things are so awesome. Why don't I create one indicator that has all of them inside it, that has the RSI and the MACD, and also some others, the CCI and stochastics and several others. So that's where the Super D came from. It's got 7 different momentum oscillators inside of it, including the ones for the Flash and the McDiver. Hey, everybody, remember that tomorrow's a holiday. No trading tomorrow. Any more questions? Go ahead and hit up Connor at the. Oh, where'd our I don't know, our email address at the bottom here disappeared. Yeah, if you're not already a an Einstein and you want to upgrade, talk to Connor. He'll give you credit uh, towards a Einstein bundle upgrade. And if you're not yet a second brain trader, it's time. I'm glad you liked it, Gary. Yeah, I come from a little bit different position than most people that do what I do now. I sucked. Yeah, that's because it's a lot of work, Patrick. Most people don't want to do it. You know, most people that run companies like what we do here, they don't want to do it. It's hard. I enjoy it though. I mean, it takes a lot of time, but I get a lot of satisfaction watching you guys use the tools successfully. That's where I get my kicks. Right. Right. No, it's work, man. Every day. Treat it like a job, not like a hobby, and you might suddenly see all kinds of difference in your trading. Now you have to prove it to her. You've got to be accountable to her. Show her that you're doing something different than what you've been doing. Yeah, Kevin, contact Connor. Yep, that's huge. That's my goal. Winners, not money. Money will show up. If you're thinking about the money, it's like staring at a pot of water, right? If you think about it, it'll never happen. If you go about your business of your job of being a trader, the money will just show up. All right, let's go have an awesome 3-day weekend. And I know we're going to be seeing some new faces next week in the trade room. Congratulations and welcome. And we'll see you next week. Bye now.